and then I'll share this thing here. So we are live. Yeah, we are live. Here we are on the webinar. What do we call this webinar? It's the South African webinar. It's for immigrants coming into New Zealand. There you go. We're the group that helps immigrants get into New Zealand, and there's a dynamic here, I guess. There's people that are specializing in different things. So I'm excited to be with all of us here. And there's, each of us is a little bit, you know, we've got our own flavor of what we offer. Dawn is here. She's doing the coaching. She does CV coaching, and she helps people through the process of coming in her way. Yvonne is here. She does vehicles, finance, and rentals. She helps people come into New Zealand in her way. Cliff is here. Normally he's on pre-webinar, but we missed him today. He was out of commission, and he came in.
I get it, Tate.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. No, we're all just a little community here. We get on fine. We're not corporate. We're cooperative, but we're not corporate. It's a similar word, but very different meaning. And then I'm Tate. I help people with jobs. Jobs is my thing. So, you know, we all have our own background, but the passion is the same, helping you guys out. We all were foreigners. We all were foreigners. And even Yvonne is no longer a foreigner, right, Yvonne?
That's it.
Yeah. So, you know, all of us were foreigners. And now I don't even consider myself foreign. Do you consider yourself foreign, Dawn?
No, not now. It took a while, though. It took a while. No, definitely not now.
Me too.
No, I feel like a local now.
Yeah. And what's funny is some people still think that I'm not local, but that's only on a certain level, like when they have multi-generational families here and stuff. But that's fine. I give them that. That's fine. I understand. I would feel the same if my family, you know, fought in the Civil War in the US or whatever. You know, whatever. It's fine. You have a long history. That's great. But there's so many people from so many places here, and we're all drawn by such similar things. So I think it's kind of cool. It's a cool community. It's actually, New Zealand is a way of life, a way of thinking. It's evolving into that, isn't it? It's just a beautiful place as well, which adds to that. It's a great place to really, all those things you hear about the myths, you know, is it a myth? Oh, is it real? Do you have less stress? Yes. Oh, what about this? Nature? Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Drop your camera and wherever it takes a picture is going to be nearly postcard. Oh yeah, that's it. And then what about the economy? Can I make a lot of money? Well, no, probably not. Well, what about the income? Can I have a lot of income and go out all the time at restaurants? No, probably not. Depends. I mean, you can get lucky and win the lotto, and then you can go out every night. But that's not really why people come here.
No.
And it's not the main draw. The main draw, as people find, the materialism sort of slips away. I'm going on too far. I'm getting off track here. What I should do is say that the group is cool. We've got a new energy. We're going to be growing here. We're going to be bringing new ideas in. And lucky for you guys, it's all about you guys. So that's the focus, bringing cool, interesting information, hopefully a bit of entertainment as well. And, you know, and doing it with different personalities. And, you know, we have a sort of, I guess we haven't yet evolved. Well, when do you evolve? You're always evolving. So we're in the process, and we'll always be in process. Where am I going with this? I think where I'm going is Yvonne has, oh, Yvonne, are you gone? Yvonne, are you going to do the first one?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Yvonne will do the first presentation today, and it is on, are you going to do the decisions one? Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, perfect. So what actually made me decide on talking about this evening is really, I can probably say every single day I get emails from people who ask me to share my immigration story. I suppose it's a bit of positivity for them and, you know, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because we all started off with no job at some stage, unsure of what our CV's like, unsure, you know, are we going to actually be able to make this dream come true? So I suppose people look for that bit of hope and a real story for someone that they're dealing with. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to put it out there as well as the reasons what made me choose New Zealand out of all the other countries. So I mean, I always say to everybody, you and your husband, if you're coming over with a partner, you've both got to be in it together. That's really crucial. Lots of shame. Lots of ladies contact me and they say, oh, their husband's a bit hesitant, you know, because of the culture in South Africa being so different to here. And it takes some time for both partners to be on board. So, I mean, like my story, after many discussions and long debates and, you know, weighing up all the variables, we both came to the important decision. We decided that we no longer wanted to remain in our home country and that we wanted to move abroad. And that's the first step. So first we had to see what country was an option based on our skills, qualifications, and of course, what supporting visas were offered. And would those ultimately lead to us being able to stay in the country we chose permanently? Especially with having children, we wouldn't want to go somewhere and have to leave after our visa because we didn't research if, you know, it would lead to actual residency and citizenship. So with having small children, we had to look at what education each country offered and ultimately what lifestyle we wanted with a young family. And for us, New Zealand ticked all of those boxes. So my husband came over in 2016 for a look-see and decide. He was on the South Island and he didn't have much luck with securing employment, but he got to his first taste of New Zealand and he loved it. He returned home and pretty much everything continued as normal and we didn't really talk about immigrating again until not much changed in South Africa and you get back into your routine and you start to realize, oh, you know, you might actually want a bit more than this and you start exploring your options again. So we decided to pursue immigrating again and my husband came back to New Zealand, but this time North Island and Auckland. So he could only be here for 2 weeks with work restraints and everything. So it wasn't really long enough. He returned with no job offer again, but lots and lots of interest. So we decided to continue hunting for a job, but this time online once he got home. Literally each and every day, day in and day out, we were applying online, making the right connections. And finally, we received some hope from an employer that he actually met with when he was here in Auckland. And they started to engage with us, which was amazing. So we got the job offer and literally 3 months after receiving the offer, we landed in New Zealand. So it happened really quick. And that's what's happening for a lot of my clients as well. They are quite taken back by how quickly everything goes once you get the offer, apply for the visas. And that can be quite overwhelming. So with that being said, it's pretty much where my topic came up. Why did I choose New Zealand? So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about what deciding factors I took into consideration when I chose New Zealand. And these factors seem to be a common denominator amongst South African immigrants here in New Zealand. And I mean, like I mentioned last time, I'm not just helping South Africans anymore. There's quite a lot of people from the UK as well, and some Americans as well. So, and they all tell me the same thing why we all chose New Zealand. So the first one would be clean and safe. And wow, what a safe and peaceful land New Zealand is. It's got high quality living conditions, and it's definitely somewhere where I think people, after researching, you imagine that, you know, this can be the future that you dreamed of. So, you know, if you read about New Zealand, it says it's clean and green. So your children will grow up in that clean and green land with unlimited access to nature and all sorts of healthy sports and different opportunities for them that they might not have got back in their home country. I don't come from the UK or America, so I can only just really say, like, in South Africa, New Zealand's got so much more to offer compared to where I come from for my children. And of course, coming from South Africa, you want to go somewhere where crime is minimal, because that's one of the biggest reasons why people are leaving. And here in New Zealand, crime is extremely low. And yes, you do get petty crime, but it's not like what we're used to. My children walk freely in the shops. They walk at the lake. I don't have to keep them like attached to my hand, like, don't let go of the trolley. You've got to stay with mom. And the biggest thing is we sleep peacefully. We've got no burglar bars, no high walls. And I'm sure before anybody decides on a country that they're going to come to, that's the sort of stuff that they've researched. I mean, you don't want to go somewhere to where the situation is the same or worse than what you're in at the moment. And people get on well together. I think all the families I've met, they feel safe to come and go here without that constant fear of crime. So I think in saying that, we all agree securing a better future for ourselves and our children is one of the main reasons why South Africans are choosing New Zealand. And they actually use the term of, it becomes a luxury of feeling safe. And New Zealand is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I've still got my mom-in-law here, and every time we go for a drive out, she's just so taken back by how beautiful it is. Green, everything works, it's clean, it's so well maintained. You can, everywhere you go, it's like, wow, beautiful. And I mean, South Africa's got lots of spectacular scenery as well, where without a doubt, New Zealand will definitely impress anybody. With this, it's got beautiful beaches, forests. I mean, here in Taupo, all I see now during winter is the snow-clad mountains, which is just so beautiful when I'm driving with the children, you know, whether we're going to the school or the shop, it catches our attention literally every day. And because, I mean, if you think all these beautiful things in New Zealand are just so much easier to get to than South Africa because we're so small. And the whole reason how we got the opportunity to enter New Zealand is because it's got good career aspects. And after doing some research, I got to the fact that New Zealand government expects that we'll need about 47,000 more workers a year well into 2020s. And that adds up to great career opportunities and positivity for migrants that want to come in here. And they also say that the majority of the new jobs they're actually focusing for people to come in from overseas countries. And in all these articles I read, it includes South Africa, which is great. And especially for a big family like mine, we have to look into the cost of living. I mean, here in New Zealand, we get subsidized healthcare. That's huge compared to what we were paying for medical aid in South Africa. I mean, just my little family of 5, we were paying 8,000 Rand. That's a lot of money. So the public healthcare in New Zealand is free or low cost if you're a citizen resident or if you've got a work visa for 2 years or more. And that is because so many people say to me, oh, how is that possible? And that's thanks to the heavy government subsidies. And the ACC, if people say, wow, like what's ACC? So if you're injured in an accident, even if you were at fault, medical and recovery costs are covered. I mean, it's pretty much unique in the world. Definitely not something we were offered at once in South Africa. And education, that's something that I looked into intensely before deciding to make New Zealand our home, especially with having 3 children. I've now got 4. So it was a huge deciding factor as I wanted them to have a calm, safe environment for them to learn at their own pace. And New Zealand offers that with ongoing support in the class. And I mean, you don't pay so much for schooling here. It's really just a donation. We've spoken about that numerous times. And then I also looked at what type of universities there are, and it came out that all 8 New Zealand universities on the top 500 in the world ranking, which is great. I'd say it's pretty impressive for a small country. And then I come down to a balanced lifestyle. I speak to so many of my clients after they've purchased a car, and they say to me they cannot believe like how balanced New Zealand is with the work life. It's just something you can't explain until you're here. It's really got the perfect work-life balance. And when like the Kiwis that I speak to, they say to me, you know, something that they've learned over their years of being in New Zealand, life is for living. They want you to live your life, not just work and work. It's about balancing a good day's work with time for family and friends and still being able to enjoy everything that their country offers. Majority of my clients say that they work better hours here in New Zealand as well, compared to what they did in South Africa. So in my own words, I pretty much say they're not working themselves to death to have to put food on the table, pay their medical aid, and school their children, which is a huge, I think, relief is probably the right way to put it. And I mean, I've been here now for 16 months. And something I really enjoy about New Zealand is, look, it took time to get used to, is the relaxed pace of life. That is definitely something that people have to take into consideration. I mean, South Africa, particularly like Joburg and Cape Town, it's fast paced. Everything's moving. It happens. The pressure's there. So, I mean, here in New Zealand, I'd say they're easygoing. You've got uncrowded communities. I mean, it's a small country, relatively low crime, which all in all means life's generally less stressed here. The general Kiwi attitude is definitely more laid back. And my clients do sometimes find that frustrating when they're here on a visitor's visa, because we're so used to, like, you know, you go for the interview, get the job offer, and things just get going. We're here, it takes time. And that is because of their laid back, their whole demeanor is laid back. The pace is super slow. And, you know, quite honestly, from being a place where everyone's rushing around, it's quite an adaptation. And, you know, here's something else which is just amazing, which we don't have in South Africa. And from what I've read, it doesn't seem like America offers it either. People don't care here if you're a lawyer, a plumber, or even if you're a shop assistant, what car you drive. Everyone is the same, and I think it's brilliant. So the pressure to be successful in the eye of society is something I've gladly left behind. And overall, I'd say the Kiwis are easygoing and welcoming people with a general upbeat type of outlook on life. So those are the main reasons that I seem to have put together from chatting to some of my clients I've been able to keep in contact with, who've been here now for, I'd say, maximum 6 months. And we all pretty much came up with the same things that we looked into before deciding on New Zealand, and how amazingly true all those things really are here in New Zealand. And I think what stands out the most is clean, safe, everything works, and relaxed, and just the less stressful life, and how you really get to spend more time with your family here.
Yvonne, thank you very much for that presentation. There's some questions here. I guess first, the comment, someone asked what specifically you do, and it was already answered by Carol Ann, who said that, you know, you do the car rentals and finance. Then
Yes.
Carol Ann said that we would like a better, and this was to everyone, that's why I'm reading it out. So just so everyone knows, if you send a private message, they don't get read out. If you send to everyone, then we're going to read them out, and it will go on to the webinar as well. So Carol Ann said, Tate, we would like a better opportunity to live, a job that accepts you on your expertise, not race, a home that doesn't look like a prison, a country that you want to feel a part of and you want to help develop it, a place to call home, and really enjoy your journey in life. I think that's as well said as anyone else.
Completely.
So Yvonne, so many things that you've said were typical. What have you found that's different? Have you found some people that, I mean, how would you group them up, like percent-wise? Because you see a flow of people coming into New Zealand. You're doing the cars, so they basically come to you, get involved with the cars, get involved with rents and that sort of thing. They have a lot of questions for you. Some of them you find out quite a lot of information about. Could you statistically break it down, just estimate the main reasons why people come here? You said security. Any other ones that are in there? Any surprises?
Not really. I haven't had anything that I was like, oh, wow, that's quite true. But yeah, I would pretty much say everyone's got, if you've got children, everyone says that they want to give their children a much better future with safety. And that's definitely not an option in South Africa. Well, it's bleak at the moment. I mean, we can't predict what's going to happen. And yeah, I must be honest, I think that's what everybody says to me. And even if they don't have children, your future here is going to be better. And quite a lot of people have said to me, they suffer from depression and anxiety back home or in South Africa. And after doing loads of research, them coming here, that's, you know, the hope is to get rid of the anxiety and depression, because you don't have this constant fear at night, for example. And a lot of my clients have said to me, you won't believe how much better we sleep at night, because it's an adjustment, no high walls, electric fencing, no burglar bars. And once you're used to it, you sleep like a baby. It's so amazing. And this little sound that you hear at night, people are like, oh, they don't have to stress that there's somebody in the house. It's just an animal or just a possum or something. So I haven't heard anything that's pretty much not on what I mentioned. We all pretty much have the same thing. And lots of people who have their husbands working long hours, weekends, holidays, they're coming here for that work-life balance.
I put a poll out while you were talking. So far, 70% have responded. And we've got future for children at 59%. That's the highest. We've got security at 53%. That's the, you can do, why these percents are over 100. You can have multiple, you know, options there. So we've got future for children, number 1, security, number 2, outdoor activities, number 3, work-life balance is, oh, actually that's number 3, outdoors, number 4, nature, 5, other, leave comments, and we've got some comments here. All Blacks, that was just a joke that I put in. Someone took the joke and said, yep, that's the reason. I knew I'd get someone. Yeah, so well done, Yvonne. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, great. And I also just wanted to say I don't just do the financing and hiring. I now help people find the right car, especially, you know, when they're unsure what to buy here. I help them with that peace of mind, and, you know, I help them make an informed decision. And with that comes all the schooling questions, medical, accommodation. So just overall, I just, you know, I give as much information as possible to help them feel secure upon arriving, really.
Well, you've done a lot, Yvonne. 15 months, was it? You came here and you set up quite smartly, and yeah, you're a central point now. Well done.
Oh, thanks, Tate.
And so, yeah, I guess the next, Dawn, can I introduce you?
Yeah, hi.
Dawn has she's got Coach to Success. It's a website. She's doing the CVs and support to people along the way. Also a central person. And she's helping us in our group here, this webinar group, coordinate things, keep us focused on the right things and organized. And, you know, it's just great to work with Dawn. Dawn, what do you have for us today? What you mentioned on the pre-webinar, would you like to introduce it?
Sure. Well, just before I do, I just want to say thanks so much to Yvonne. That was another really great informative talk that you give. You just say so much, and I can only imagine just, you know, how helpful that is for people. And one thing that I just wanted to pick up on that you mentioned was that idea, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not South African, I'm British, and so very much like that in Britain, keeping up with the Joneses. And when I came to New Zealand, I realised that it doesn't matter what car you drive, what clothes you wear, you know, where you go on holiday or don't go on holiday. You know, nobody's judging. In fact, nobody cares. And everyone's just accepted for who they are. And I just love that about New Zealand. So anyway, thank you, Yvonne. That was just brilliant to listen to. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jess.
Okay, so as billed, I'm going to have a chat about teachers and how you can raise your profile when you're making job applications, and also when you're in interview. I've noticed on the group, whenever anything goes up about teachers, any information, there's a huge response. So I know there's lots of teachers out there. So when I was thinking about what I could say today, I just thought, well, let's have a chat about teachers and see what I can come up with that might be helpful for you. So the good news is there's currently lots of recruitment in New Zealand for overseas teachers because there's a significant shortfall of teachers to fill the positions available. So all teachers outside of New Zealand must become registered, and you can find out everything that you need to know by going to the Teaching Council New Zealand website. Some of you may well be through all of that by now, but for the new people coming on who don't know where to go or what to do, go to the Teaching Council New Zealand website and you will find out everything that you need to know for your qualifications and for overseas teachers. Some of you will also find that your qualifications are exempt. I'm actually working with a lady right now, and her qualification from South Africa, and her qualification is exempt, so that's great, but you still need to go through the whole registration process, which takes around 5 to 8 weeks from submission of all your paperwork. Okay, so for those who are actively job searching right now, you will find lots of positions advertised on the New Zealand Education Gazette website. And so what's going on now is recruitment for the academic year starting end of Jan, beginning of Feb 2020. And jobs will continue to be advertised right through to December, even into the beginning of January to fill those positions. So it's kind of a really, you know, hot at the moment, so a really good time for all you teachers to be putting in your applications. There's recruitment all year round, but this is just a flurry of activity at the moment to try and fill those positions for the coming academic year. Okay, so how do you raise your profile when you know there's a large pool of strong applicants. You can do this by providing a teaching philosophy. Now that will be as an appendix to your CV. This document consists of around about 2 A4 pages. The teaching philosophy is largely a reflective statement about the theoretical underpinnings of your belief systems and how that affects the decisions you make as a teacher. For example, with your teaching strategies or with your classroom management. And you should also know that some principals actively request a teaching philosophy as part of their recruitment process. So if you can be ahead of the game and provide this information as an appendix to your CV, that will be a big plus for you. Now you're probably thinking, oh, I'm not too sure what that actually is. So I will post up on the group either later today or tomorrow what the full criteria is for a teaching philosophy, and then you just go ahead and you write your own. Like I said, it's largely a reflective statement, and the people that I've worked with have said they really enjoyed doing it. So I'll pop that philosophy up there for you, so you can get writing and add that to your CV. Okay, so what's another way of raising your profile? So the Treaty of Waitangi. I don't know how many of you will have heard of the Treaty of Waitangi. Probably not too many, to be honest. So from the teachers that I've worked with, when I mention the Treaty of Waitangi, it's new news, don't know what it is, and we start from scratch, and that's okay. You're not expected to know about it. But if in interview you can say to the principal, look, I know about the Treaty of Waitangi, I've done some research. What a great statement that would be coming from an overseas teacher. So you're probably saying, well, what is this treaty? So I'm going to try and explain it. It's a complex subject, so I'm going to really try and simplify it for you. And I'm more than happy to answer questions about this later as well. So you can either email me or ask me in the chat room or on the group. So the Treaty of Waitangi is New Zealand's founding document. It was signed in 1840 by Maori tribesmen and representatives of the British government who wanted to claim New Zealand as part of the British Empire. The treaty was in essence a set of promises written by the British and agreed by the Maori about how they could live together. You're wondering, what has all this got to do with New Zealand today and for me as a teacher? Well, the short answer is quite a lot. The treaty and its principles that were agreed all those years ago are still actively represented within Acts of Parliament, including the Education Act, New Zealand policies and day-to-day practices. So as a teacher, you should be aware of the Treaty of Waitangi and how it relates to education. There's a lot of literature out there about this subject, and I really don't want you to, you don't need to be an expert, and I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, where do I go with this? And so when you are writing your teaching philosophy, you can actually put something in there about that as well, which will be a big plus for you. And I've actually just been working with a teacher who has done just that. So she wrote her teaching philosophy, and then towards the end, she'd mentioned that she'd read about the treaty and what it meant in education, and sort of incorporated that into her own beliefs. She did such a great job. I was so impressed with it. And I've actually received proofs from other teachers as well from South Africa, who have, from when I've been working with them, they've incorporated that perhaps in their cover letter as well, and have said that they've been doing some research. You don't have to know it all, but just the fact that you mention it is a big plus. And also in interview as well. A couple of weeks ago, chatting with this lady, and she said, "Oh, I brought it up in the interview after we talked about it." And the principal's eyes nearly popped out of his head. He was so impressed that this teacher had shown a real interest in New Zealand, sort of demonstrating her desire to sort of integrate as a teaching professional in a New Zealand setting. So you're probably saying, well, what is it that I have to say? What is it? So you will. I actually put up a couple of links onto the group, and having a look at those will be really helpful. So one talks about the treaty simplistically, and one talks about the treaty and education, to get a bit of an idea about what it actually means. So in simple terms, the treaty principles, and they're known as the 3 Ps, as they relate to the classroom, education policies, and the school community, are this: 1, participation. Ensure that equal participation of Māori children and their parents and Māori teachers are included in decision making. 2, protection. Understand that Māori culture and protocols and language are to be respected, incorporated, and encouraged. 3, partnership. Working together, respecting the contribution of all, ensuring everyone gets a say. So the 3 principles of the Treaty of Waitangi are participation, protection, and partnership. And so that will apply to different industries in different ways. But that's very basically how it applies to the education industry sector. So you as a teacher, the wider community, the wider teaching community, but also those who make the policies for education. So all it means for you is, in your teaching philosophy, once you've had a little bit of reading about it, if you can incorporate that you are aware of the treaty and its importance within education. You can mention this at interview as well. And then you've also got your teaching philosophy that we talked about at the start attached to your CV. All of this just elevates you as one really special teacher, someone who's interesting, above the pile of teachers that will land on a principal's desk. Just a couple of things there that will help. And I'm open. I mean, I realise it's quite a big subject, particularly the Treaty of Waitangi. And I'm open to as many questions as people have to try and help you along the way. So that's about it for me, really. I don't know if you've got anything you want to add, Tate.
No, I don't have anything to add, but I think you've opened up a lot of questions. There is a poll in progress, and people are wanting to find out about everything, really. I mean, well, everything that's listed there. Someone else has, I think, written a question, and I think this is quite a hot topic, as you brought up, Dawn, from the group. So getting registered, yeah, you covered that. I believe that's Education Council.
Yes, that's the very first thing. I mean, I have known people apply for jobs without the registration, and on their CV they've put that their registration is currently with the Teachers Council, and they've still got interviews. And actually, some have got job offers without it. But of course, if that doesn't come through, then that could be withdrawn. So yeah, the ideal position to be in is to have that registration.
Very true. And from my side, I've heard of people also who've done the same thing, and it's come back. We will have a look at your CV after you give the certificate.
Yeah, that's the ideal and preferred position to be in. Get that registration, and then you're away.
Okay, and I think that was the number one. Number two looks like it's tied. I'll read the first one on the list. How to get teaching jobs, the process of getting teaching jobs. Okay, so as I mentioned, the Teachers Gazette is the go-to place really for jobs. I mean, really, that's all the teaching jobs in New Zealand are listed there. And I know there's a recruitment
company called Randstad. I don't know if you're aware of them, Tate.
Yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah, they specialise a lot in helping teachers. RANDSTAD, Randstad. So you can look up there as well. But I believe they're probably just the positions that are already advertised with the Teaching Gazette. So it's a bit, it's madness at the moment trying to fill those positions. So there's no shortage of jobs, and that will be from primary right up to the top, and also the younger children as well, so pre-primary.
There's a little bit of a caveat there, I think, with some of the roles, like I think by memory, Dawn, you can correct me, I think we're looking at PE, physical education, not being near the top, but then maths and science and that, it's quite demanding.
Yes, sorry, I probably wasn't clear then. When I said the top, I mean right up to the end of the school years, so 18.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the whole range of...
So the whole range is needed, right?
Yeah, that's right. So having that teaching philosophy, a CV can only say so much, but that talks about you, your beliefs, your values, and it's a really important document. So
I was talking with a client this week, actually, and we brought up the idea of how Maori culture is infused in the New Zealand culture as a whole, and this sharing and this community aspect.
Yes.
And the children that I have gone through the school, I've watched them interact with, the events that they would have at school, and they would show some part of it as Maori cultural events. And sometimes they have the haka. Of course, it's a popular part, and people really get into it. And what you'll think, oh, it's just full of Maoris. No, it's Pakeha. It's white people. That's Pakeha. That's other than Maori, not what. Yeah.
This is true. I mean, my own 3 sons are very much involved in that as well, and they really enjoyed it. I mean, they can do a haka, which is great. And I understand that I've just heard recently actually that the New Zealand government I think they're doing currently an amendment to the education bill that is about Maori being compulsory within our curriculum.
Oh.
Yes, which at the moment it's quite basic, and it's very much dependent upon how much a teacher, I guess, wants to give. But when it becomes compulsory, that will be something quite different. But the Labour government here are very strong, very keen about getting this going. So we'll be watching this space on that one.
All right, we have a question from the chat in the chat room. I'm a deputy principal. Sean asks, I'm a deputy principal currently acting as principal for over a year, meaning I've been out of class for a while. Will that count against me?
Sorry, Tate, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Well, I've actually just worked with a principal, and he was snapped up like gold dust.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that that's going to be held against you in any way. Not at all, actually. I think you've got a lot to offer.
It's an additional draw, isn't it? Having
a lot to offer, absolutely. I wouldn't worry about that. This person I'm thinking of, he got a couple of job offers very quickly. Yeah.
All right, and then private or public school. This is part of the poll results. Which is best? Forgive me for putting in that question, but I heard that before, so it looks like it is popular with half the people.
Well, we do have some private schools. I think they're mostly in Auckland, aren't they? And there's a few dotted around, but
they're mostly either public or quasi, aren't they?
Yes. So my sons went to sort of half and half. Partly funded by the government, partly not. And that worked very well. You know what? I live in a sort of relatively small community here in New Plymouth and the Taranaki area. And we've got, where I live, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high schools here and an abundance of primary schools. And I know lots of people here, and I honestly couldn't say that any of those schools have got bad reputations. So that's a good thing. Yeah, a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can find, people do complain about the curriculum being less like, I mean, the math and sciences is not force fed down people's throats, and they say, well, they don't have a good curriculum for maths and science. And that's true. And that is a lack, apparently. But if you pursue maths and science, you'll find everything here, trigonometry, calculus. So it exists if you drive yourself to it, but it's just not forced down everyone.
Yeah, I think what I found, and I can only comment from the UK, but what I found is that learning goes on a lot outside of the classroom as well. I know, it's not just sitting at the desk. It's a lot of getting out and about. You probably would have found that with your kids' plates.
Oh, for sure.
And at first I thought, gosh, how does any learning happen here? I was a little bit aghast, I must say, I was. But I needn't have worried. All 3 did very well at school, and there was just so much more on offer to them than I was used to. And I don't know what it's like in South Africa, so I can't comment on that. But so much on offer in the curriculum. It was just incredible. It's just incredible. The kids did well. The kids did really well and flourished. I see a question here that says, how long does the registration with the council process take on average? So from the feedback that I'm getting from the teachers I've been working with over the last couple of years, average seems to be around about 6 to 8 weeks. But of course, that could be more in times of when, like now, when there's a lot going on. I don't know, but I'm still hearing it's around about that time. I haven't heard anything else at the moment.
Thank you for another wonderful presentation, Dawn. It was enjoyable. People got into it both in the polls and in the questions. They learned a lot. And if they have other questions, where do they find you?
You can post your questions up on the group so that everyone else can see as well. So that sometimes is a really good thing to do. I will pop up the teaching philosophy criteria for everyone, as I promised. But if you've got any questions, just put them up on the group, because I'm sure if you've got questions, other people have too. You can contact me on my email, which is coach2success, all one word, @hotmail.com. But I think it might be good if we put them out in the forum so everybody can see as well.
Yeah. All right. Very good, Dawn. Thanks so much. And we'll check you out again next week, hopefully.
Sure.
So thank you for participating in the poll, everyone. I hope you enjoy the polls being thrown in there in the process. What I do is I mute myself, type away, and throw it out there. And then, it adds a little dynamic at the end. Today, we might have a little bit of a word from Cliff. We are getting close to the end of the time. Cliff, how are you doing? Do you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah. Basically, I wanted to make a tribute to you, Safas. A few months ago, I didn't know much about people from South Africa. I knew the accent when I heard it, but other than that, I didn't know a lot. And, through the group, and hopefully you guys are familiar with some of my posts, you've been very outgoing and things and stuff. But what I wanted you to realize, because a lot of people often, wrestle with leaving. Am I deserting the country? Am I doing wrong? Am I hurting people? Whatever. And basically, hopefully, and this is common knowledge to you, but newer to me, and hopefully I get this right. But anyway, you all know what a Voortrekker is. That was people years ago, the forward pullers who were the pioneers who headed north, not knowing whether they would encounter problems, et cetera, but they were looking to find suitable places to settle and establish communities. That's in your DNA. You probably got several generations in you, and that's the Voortrekkers who were the pioneers, not the scouts, not the young people. And again, forgive me if I abuse the word or whatever, but what I have learned from you is I'm impressed. You guys are the fastest group of readers. You guys are speed readers beyond belief. I'll put these posts that, as you know, my posts can sometimes be pretty long. And within 60 seconds, I'm getting feedback and questions. And some of my posts are quite complicated. So I'm impressed with that aspect. You guys are pretty sharp. So there's a higher scale of knowledge or whatever that's in this group. But as I said, just from the Facebook page, I've made some friends on here. It's like there's a certain point where I can connect with certain people because I too am an immigrant. It was 23 years ago, but you guys aren't deserting or running or whatever. You're just following your DNA. So as you look at coming to New Zealand, you're the new Voortrekkers, and look at that. So don't, I would ask you, don't feel guilty and don't feel bad about what you're doing. Other people might be jealous and angry at you because you've got the opportunity to leave. But yeah, you guys are an awesome group. I'm really impressed. As I say, I've made some friends here. I've learned a lot, still learning. But yeah, just know that if I'm impressed, other people are going to be impressed as well. So, that's kind of it. So I just wanted to say you guys are awesome and put in that little plug for you. So yeah.
What I found, I had this other topic come up as well, also with a client, this people feeling bad about leaving their country. What that's about. These are the people that make the country work. They're the fabric of the heart and soul of the country. The people that normally would never leave the country because it's their country, it's their land, it's their heritage, it's their history, and they take responsibility to be, the contributing citizen and the one who's doing things right for the state, for the people, for the country. And you don't see these people leave normally. I mean, as a group, this class of people, they stay and they make countries work. They, this middle class or whatever. But these people are leaving because they have to. So it's a huge benefit for New Zealand to get that class of people here, irrespective of, everything else. Just take it down to the element of benefits of that move. New Zealand is benefiting in a huge way. I'm not sure if the government understands that, or I think the employers do understand it, because when they employ these people, I mean, these are the most reliable people. They're very good at what they do. They excel. They get on well with others. They're never late. Within reason. They're just super class of people in terms of the worker and the reliability as a person, the character. I think that's the word I'm looking for. The character. And these people, yeah, I think that's part of it. Wouldn't you say, Cliff?
Yep. Well, we're getting the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
There have been some SAFAs that came in front of you, which were also very good, and they've laid a good foundation and a good reputation for the new SAFAs that are following them. So as I say, SAFAs are not looked down on. It's not a derogatory or a bad thing. You have an excellent reputation, and you are the next person in that chain. So if you mess it up, you don't just mess it up for yourself, you mess it up for all the people behind you. Yeah.
Don, you've been here for a while. Have you seen the element of South Africans? For me, I've seen it. It's changed in 10 years. I've seen different people coming now than came 10 years ago. I only have this span of about 11 years or so to really understand, but there has been a change.
What you mean in terms of?
Well, like before there was, I don't know, you can say there was waves, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. I don't know what number we're on, but now we're coming to the wave where like, I need to get out, that sort of thing. And the people that are coming out with that attitude, like, what they're saying is I normally would stay, but it's impossible and I have to go. And
Yeah.
so this is a different class of people in my view. I've just seen it change.
Yeah, I've seen a change, and you know, I see it firsthand in the conversations. I hear it firsthand in the conversations that I have with people, and I'm speaking with different South African families 3 times a week, and I've heard the urgency. I hear the stories. Yeah, sort of momentum definitely has increased, I would say, probably in the last 6 months, a year. Yeah.
It increases the level of responsibility we have and a little bit of weight on our shoulders, isn't it? I mean, when we're dealing with people.
It absolutely does. Yeah, it absolutely does. And I mean, it's, I've said before, it is a privilege to listen to people's stories and to be that person that they're telling and they entrust with those things. Friday was a difficult day. Was a difficult day for me. I spoke to a couple of people, and yeah, it saddened me, and I just thought, what can I do? And I thought, well, come on, what you can do is get a plan going, help people form that plan to get out if that's what they want. So we can talk about things aren't great and what's happening, but for me it's about action. Let's take action. What can we do? What's the next step? And that's kind of my way of dealing with it. My way of helping is to get to try and sort of work through the fog and let's get a plan.
Work through the fog and get a plan. Well, the plans are all in various stages of process. We're dealing with a dynamic here, and we've, in our own little way, I think, attempted to try to address as much as we can within the hour that we've got. The hour is coming to an end now, but we had a great couple of presentations from Yvonne, Dawn, and then Cliff came in at the end with a spontaneous thing that sort of sparks the imagination. I look forward to a lot more of these things. We've got a webinar working group now. And so we'll be meeting Wednesdays and planning this out a little bit more. So you might see a bit more of a plan, a program, an agenda, maybe some preparation here and there. I mean, Yvonne and Dawn have prepared today really well, but sometimes it's just not on the level where it could be in the past. Today went really well. I guess I'm going to sign out just a little bit early. It's 8:53, and I think we've done what we came to do.
I think so.
Hey, Tate, I got one more comment, if it's okay.
Yeah.
What I've learned a lot from you guys. It's like, yeah, and from my post that came from my heart. So I'm genuine about what I say, and that's my way of trying to help. That's the Kiwi way. It's like, yeah, that's who I am. I am a Kiwi and stuff, but I'm also an observer, as a, kind of in my career and stuff, I had to read things and stuff or whatever. But what's come across from a lot of the SAFAs, they say they're a stranger in their own country. They're like, this is not the country I grew up in. And they look at New Zealand and they see so much that they had in their youth. It's like a lot of people talk about, well, we used to play in the street till 11 o'clock at night. There weren't any problems. And in a certain way, they want that back. They want kind of their country or their life back. And, they said it's just not possible here in South Africa now. It's changed and it's not going to come back for a long time. So, yeah. But, yeah, what I'm trying to do is get the SAFAs to look at themselves and realize you are the new Voortrekkers. So, yeah, it's like it's in your DNA. You can't avoid it. It's who you are. And it's not a bad thing. So, yeah, but yeah. Okay, I think I beat it to death now, Tate, so that's good. But yeah, I just wanted to say I'm impressed by you guys. As they say, you're the fastest group of readers I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, but there's some other aspects there. But the other part that I see in a lot of the posts and the comments, and some which are offline, I have conversations with people and stuff, is it's like these guys are going to fit in here just fine. You can see Kiwis are givers, it's who we are. And a lot of the SAFAs has said that, that's the way it used to be, but it's not that way anymore. Everybody's withdrawn and conservative and things and stuff. And you don't do that. That's not second nature. But once they begin to either get here or deal in things here, that comes back.
Yeah.
Because it's in you. You can't get rid of it. Don't try. It's a good thing. But anyway, yeah. So I'll shut up. I'll get down from my soapbox now. Thanks, Kate.
And we know that there are naysayers who sometimes try to make you feel guilty, and I think that's a big shame. People need to leave other people's decisions, personal decisions alone, especially difficult ones. If you're not supportive, just be quiet, and it's a bit rude, especially when it's a close family member trying to make you feel guilty. I guess you just shouldn't wear it. Don't weigh it down. Do what you got to do, and make amends later if you can. I don't know what to say. I know it's not always easy, but friends, family, and that. Not everyone has that problem, but I do hear it too often, huh, Dawn?
Yeah, I hear it all the time. And
the positive thing is we are moving, and lots of people are coming in, and there's great successes every week.
Yes.
How many per day? 23 a day, I think. There's numbers are really high.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Overall, yeah. Take care, everyone. I'm going to sign off. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week, same time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.